Right folks, quick video. We're here at Spiny Ruins. I'm going to go up the track to the right. This should be a pretty quick video. Okay, I've said recently about the fact of to stand and the fact of it's not about whether that's exactly the thing that's going to happen. Yeah, there doesn't need to be an absolute certainty. So okay, that's true. But obviously, when you're standing, sometimes it looks really, really bad. Sometimes it looks really, really good. And, when it looks really good, it won't happen. That's what happens sometimes. When it looks absolutely certainty that it will happen, it doesn't. And when it looks like no chance it will happen, it does. Because it's not based upon what it looks. It's based upon, has God said? If God said, then if, big if, make that in capitals. So not just a capital, but capitals. The biggest capital you can make, if. If God said, then there's no doubt whatsoever that it's going to happen. I mean, no doubt at all. There should be no doubt at all. If God said, then it's absolute. It's going to happen. Of course, the question is, did God say? Now, that's something that you have to pray about. You have to consider. Do you believe absolutely that God said? If so, stand on it completely. Because if God actually said, it can't not happen. Right? Okay. Well, let's look at examples of when God said and things look really, really bad. Jonah is one. Jonah was sent to go and talk to these people, to go and tell these people to repent. He said he don't want to go. He doesn't really believe these people have deserved a chance to repent. And God says, no, but I'm sending you, you're going to go. You will go there. Jonah said no. Then basically in the Bible it says, well, think about this. If someone sent an email to the people who should be going to and said, oh dear, sorry, his ship was wrecked and he was swallowed by a whale. So, oops. Everyone was thinking, okay, he's dead. He won't come here now because he's dead, so we can't repent now. Did he go there? Yes. Did they repent? Yes. Did it look really, really bad beforehand? Yes. It looked as bad as it could possibly look, didn't it really? Look at a situation for Abraham. He was told by God to sacrifice his son, wasn't he? It looked as if that was what was going to happen. Now that's not quite the same thing because he was actually told by God to do that. But God actually told him beforehand he would have a son, and that son would basically be, the beginning of Israel. That Israel would come through that son. So therefore, obviously, as a small child, that son could not die. But when he was told to kill his son, he forgot that God had sort of told him that, or that God had told him that, so he believed that God actually wanted to kill his son. And then God stopped him just before he killed him. Yeah. Well, and the person who was next to the Lord, on the cross, he didn't believe he could be forgiven. Because he's supposed to be on his own cross and dying. So he didn't believe he could be forgiven by God at that point in time. He didn't know how to do that. He didn't have a lamb that he could kill to cover his sins, did he? And yet, when he told the other bloke off for taunting the Lord, he then asked the Lord basically, yeah, will you cover my sins? Will you forgive me? Can I be with you where you're going? Which is basically saying, I've got to be forgiven first before I can do that. So can you do that? And I said, yeah, you're covered. You're done. Now, that bloke never thought that would be possible. When he was being put on the cross and hung up, he suspected he would just suffocate and die, because that was the point of the cross. So things looked really, really bad for him, and yet they weren't. Hope wasn't lost. He thought it was lost, but it wasn't lost. Yeah? That's the point of all those things, really. People thought hope was lost, but it wasn't lost. They thought it was so bad it couldn't happen, but it did happen. Yeah? But that's the point. God said. When God said, boom, done. Done. No questions, really. Done. If you don't believe it, it doesn't matter. It will still be done. Yeah, because God said. Yeah. But what if you think God says, but you're not really sure? Stand. That's the point. Stand. Because it's possible that God said, but maybe not. But if it's possible that God said, then stand. If you're wrong, then okay, you were standing. You learned to stand, so that's good. That's okay. It's not too bad. It could be worse. Yeah, you stood. That's what you're supposed to do, is stand. And you stood, so that's good. Okay, on that occasion, you were wrong. Maybe next time you'll be right. Yeah. And maybe next time you won't. Maybe it'll take till the 10th time that you're right. But that 10th time might be the most important thing in your life, and you stood on it. Now, okay, what's the difference as to whether you stand or don't? The difference is that people see your doubt or people see your faith. That really is a difference. Certainly if God said, that's the difference. And even when God didn't say, if you're standing and you're saying, I'm standing because I think God said, okay, a lot of people will say you're crazy. But God looks at that and says, oh, okay. He stood, even though he believed it's not possible. Yeah, it could be wrong. He still stand. So, yeah. That's the point of that. Now, obviously, if you don't believe God said, then don't stand. That's the point. If you don't believe that God said something, don't stand on that, because that's really silly. But if you believe, or it's possible that God said, if you know it's really, really possible that God said, then stand. But if not, don't stand. Because that's the point. If God said, it will happen. If God didn't say, then obviously it probably won't happen. Well, if you are trusting God to do it, because there's no chance that it could happen without God doing it. Sorry, brain isn't working again. It's yeah. But as I say, that's the point. If you're trusting God to do it, and God didn't say it, it won't happen. Yeah. If it's an easy thing, if you're saying, I'm going to get up today and walk, but you've been walking all your life, that's easy to stand on that, is it? Really? It doesn't need God to say that, because you've been walking all your life. So, that's a bit of a silly thing to stand on, really. So, but actually, if you haven't been walking and you believe God's saying you can be walking today, then try and stand. Try to stand and try to walk. If you can't walk, okay, you tried. That's the point. You tried. A lot of people who can't walk, don't even try. So you tried, okay. Go back to God, ask him why it didn't work, and okay. Yeah, does it matter? Not really, because you couldn't walk before and now you can't walk now. So it doesn't really matter. No. Obviously, if hope is gone because of that, then it matters. But, you know, is hope really gone? No. You could be angry for a day or 2 days or that sort of time. But a few days later, hope is there again. So, yeah, that's fine. That's the point. Sometimes you're going to fall, and in life, sometimes you need to fall. And if you need to fall, you need to fall. And sometimes, if you're standing and it's not God, you will fall. That's okay. Don't worry about it. Yeah, you're not going to die from that fall, so don't worry about it. Well, you shouldn't. Yeah. Don't worry about it. Just stand. Just if you're trusting God, then just trust God. Yeah. If you're trusting God, if you stand, and it's not of Him, then He will make sure you're okay. Then trust in that. But that's the point. If you think that if you stand and it's not of God, then you're going to fall and you're going to be really, really hurt by it. That's probably true. Yeah, because you believe in it. Yeah. Well, a lot of people believe that God's not real, and in their life, it's not real for them. Okay, because you believe it. Yeah, and you've been talking about it and saying it's not real. So for you, even if God is in front of you, it's not real. Yeah, because you don't believe. That's the point. You can see something amazing, but it's nothing for you because you don't believe. But that's the point, isn't it, really, for people? If you believe, then stand. Yeah. That's what we're supposed to do. And yeah, it can be tough, but as I say, the most important point is, did God say? That's it. Did God say? If the answer is yes to you, then stand. Simple as that. Then stand on that. And if people are saying you're crazy, just look at them saying, well, actually, I think you're crazy. Because I believe in this, I'm standing in this, and if I'm right, I get to benefit all this. If I'm wrong, nothing changes. But for you, nothing changes either way. The people that don't believe, nothing changes for them either way. At least for you, if you're right, everything changes. But for them, nothing changes. So who's crazy? You or them? You're standing on this thing, and if you're right, then so much is going to change. But for them, if they're right, nothing changes. If God doesn't exist, what changes for them? Nothing. If what you're standing on isn't worth it, if they're wrong, does anything change for them? Not really, because they don't believe. And yeah, if you're right and everything changes in your life, they say, oh, it's not God. It just happened. Yeah. Okay. If people want to say that, cool, just say it. Just say it, yeah. Yeah. Will it stop me standing? No, not at all. Will it stop me thinking it was God? No. Just because you don't believe, okay, don't believe. That's the point. If you do believe, then you have to test it. You have to then try and walk. As I say, you have to try and walk in faith, because once you walk in faith, and you can walk in faith on certain things, then you can learn to stand. You cannot learn to walk as a son until you first learn to stand. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. Right, something else I will say that I realised earlier. I had some praise and worship on, and a song from Casting Crowns come on, what if we are the body? And I was listening to that, I was thinking, that's absolutely mad. Now, question that, but obviously, years ago, I was saying, that group was really, really good. But now I know they're part of the problem, because basically all their songs say, look at the sun, 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 look at the sun. No of the songs say, look at the Father. But as I say, when you look at what the Son said, he said all the time, look at the Father. He didn't say, look at me. He said, when you see me, you see the Father. Every time he was pointing to the Father. And Casting Crowns and other groups have basically done the same as the church, basically. Saying, look at the sun, look at the sun, look at the sun, look at the sun. No. But to be honest, when they were doing that, I was saying that they were a good group, that they were a good group being led by God. So I was wrong as much as they were. That's the reality, isn't it, really? So I'm not looking at them saying they're wrong. I'm looking at that song now saying it's quite ironic, really. Because, they're asking the question, what's wrong? And they're telling you what's wrong. Because we're looking at the sun all the time, not looking at the Father. So, yeah. There you go. Well, apology, because brain isn't working, so a lot of the words I've trying to say was dodgy in this one. There you go. That's what happens, when brain isn't working, so there you go. Right. It's a nice day, actually. It's not too bad. It's fairly quiet. It's not even windy today. Right. Path was a little bit muddy, but not too bad. Again, it has been raining, so you've got to expect that to be the case a little bit, haven't you? So, there you go. Right. I'm going to leave you to it. You take care. God bless. I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.